It's Back with Adam. And Amy Goodman is our next clip coming up?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, this is where she appeared on her Exception to the Ruler's book tour from last year.
Right.
The show covers a lot of personal experience from her, especially the role of independent media. The clips we're going to see is, first, she's talking about war criminals, including bin Laden and members of the administration. The second clip is going to be, democracy and independence of East Timor. So here are the clips.
Yes, on September 11, 2001, we were united with people around the world against terror. I don't think the answer was the chant that went up around President Bush when he came to Ground Zero, USA, USA. It sent a chill through me. No, the answer is a global community united against terror. I do think that Osama bin Laden and his accomplices should be tried for what happened on September 11th, and if found guilty, severely punished. But I also think that Henry Kissinger should be tried for war crimes. And Donald Rumsfeld. And Dick Cheney. And George Bush. The longtime rebel leader of Timor, Shenana Gusmao, who had been imprisoned by the Indonesian military for many years, now the founding president, ascended the stage and he raised the flag of the Democratic Republic of East Timor. They had resisted, they had believed always that someday this day would come. They have taught us all an incredible lesson. And they also acknowledged repeatedly that it was people around the world that helped them get to that point. People like many of you, over the years, they knew they couldn't have done it without you.
PC here, back with Adam, and we're going to talk about a program about Peter Story. Mm-hmm. This is the one I did the sound on?
Exactly. Yeah, Peter Story is a South African Methodist minister who appeared in Portland earlier this year. He was minister to Nelson Mandela when he was a political prisoner, later appointed by Mandela to head the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of South Africa. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see a couple clips. The first one, it shows, he tells a story about a victim of apartheid violence mm-hmm. is forgiving a perpetrator. The second clip is about the church, South African church's relationship with the Communist Party there, and mm-hmm. unique relationship. So here are the clips.
All South Africans have to admit this is what happened, this is what we did. This is our history, we have to live with it. Secondly, the victims are moving toward healing. Here is an old black lady, she's blind. Her son was tortured and killed by the secret police. The man who did it is sitting on the other side of the room confessing what he did. Because she's blind, they take her arm and she is led across the room, and like any unsighted person, she begins to very gently feel the contours of his face. Her thumbs rest below his eyes and she feels his tears. And then she says something. She says, the Bible says we must forgive. And so I forgive you. And he faints. He collapses. He collapses under the pressure and pain of what it costs to be forgiven. In the years between 1990 and 1994 particularly, I found myself working quite closely with members of the Communist Party because they were part of the National Peace Accord. And I found it to be a very instructional thing to be working with them. We came from different places, of course, a church leader and a member of the Communist Party. We thought. When Chris Hani was assassinated, I mentioned his assassination. Now, Chris Hani happened to be a leading young firebrand of the Communist Party. And when he died so violently, I got a message, Bishop, would you come to Communist Party headquarters? We're having an emergency meeting. We've got a crisis. And I went to those headquarters, the first time I'd been into Communist Party headquarters. And there I sat down with a whole lot of other people who had been invited to come and talk about how we were going to hold this country together from blowing apart. And the person who now found himself in charge, with Chris Hani being dead, turned round and said, well now, well, before we begin, perhaps, Bishop, would you say a prayer for us?